Good afternoon. Thank you guys for being here today. I know last week on Tuesday I was with you, and this has been a pretty high-profile case here in Indian River County, and so I want to give you an update on this shooting incident. Our team has been working this case since Monday of last week. It was actually almost this time that the homicide happened at about 3 o'clock a week ago today, and so our team has not stopped from that time, and we wanted to give you the latest on this case. Our team was actually working over the weekend, and I'm happy to tell you, when I was here with you last time, we talked about a witness that was involved in this case, and we were still investigating that witness. We wanted to find out what the series of events were, and based on our initial conversations with the witness, we did not believe that he was being completely forthcoming with us. And so over the weekend, we actually arrested and charged our second suspect. We are not naming him. He is a juvenile. He is 16 years old, but he has been charged with 2 counts of murder, third-degree murder essentially, and 2 counts of accessory after the fact, first degree. We're not naming him for 2 reasons. One, he is a juvenile. He is 16 years old. The other reason is that he has been cooperative with us, and we hope that he will continue to be cooperative with us. The initial suspect that we arrested, Mr. Mosqueda, Jaime Mosqueda, has not been cooperative. He has not talked to us, and so we are hoping that this second witness will continue to work with us. He has not been completely forthcoming, but there are certain items that we are able to prove through forensic evidence and through a variety of different media ways. So many people have Ring doorbells. Many people have surveillance cameras. Our team has been combing the area that we know that they traveled, and as a result of that, we've actually obtained quite a bit of surveillance footage. Now, many of that I can't release to you today, but I do want to tell you the reason why we ultimately charged him. And I'm going to show you a photo here. These are actually our suspect, Jaime Mosqueda, who is in the blue, that was arrested, and this is our witness in the black, and they're shaking hands after the shooting. The video that we have obtained actually shows prior to the homicide them having a discussion, and obviously these items have to go through forensic testing, and we have to verify that the things that we're hearing on those tapes are the things that we believe that we're hearing, but ultimately they're having a discussion of, if things go bad, we'll just shoot them. We're just going to shoot them. They're having that conversation. After the fact, they're high-fiving. They're saying, great job. We're hearing them have that discussion about how good of a job it was that they did. And so for our witness to come forward and tell us that he had no idea that there was going to be a shooting, well, clearly he was present for that conversation, which we have on video. For him to say that he was worried, well, afterwards he's shaking hands with our number 1 suspect, our shooter, really goes against what he had initially told us. The last thing I'll play for you is actually audio from a surveillance camera in the neighborhood. And so it was a nearby house. There's no video with this, but we're going to play the audio that was captured, and this is actually the rapid fire gunshot. You're going to hear 20 gunshots that are fired during this transaction. So listen to this. You can hear they fired 20 rounds in succession, directly killing these 2 young men, these 2 19-year-old boys. So we now have a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old in custody. We are going to continue to work this case. Our team has done an incredible job. Detective McKay is up here with me. Our entire team has worked so hard to go out and collect all this. Our entire detective bureau has been out collecting evidence, and we're proud of them, the work that they've done, and we're going to continue to work this case and ultimately put a big bow on this for our prosecutors so that these guys go away for a long time. With that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
Sheriff, talk about the callousness of this. I mean, these are young people committing this type of offense.
I still think about last week, us standing out there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, these 2 young men from Brevard County laying on the ground dead, and these guys literally like they just fell out of the sky. Aside from that vehicle registered to one of the young men hitting on our license plate readers coming into our county at 2:30, we had no record of these guys. We had no knowledge of them. We are very happy that this witness came forward and told us. We wish he'd tell us the whole story, everything that he knows about it. But we are thankful that he did come forward and tell us what he told us, because it got us to the point of where we're at today. It is absolutely cold-blooded killing for them to fire that many rounds. 20 rounds killed these two young men, 19 years old, lives wasted for no reason whatsoever. If they wanted to rob them, that's one thing. That's a plan if that's what they're going to do. But to kill them, to fire those rounds like you just heard, is just completely unbelievable and unnecessary.
Why do you think that, so this young man who has now been arrested was your witness who
Yes.
came forward?
Yes.
Why do you think that he came forward as a witness, knowing that he, well, I don't know if he knew he was on camera talking to the shooter?
My speculation is that, well, I agree, he's 16. He probably didn't realize that all that video and all this evidence exists. And it's really amazing what our real-time crime center has put together, the timeline of events where you can see every single video as it's happening in real time, documented where it's actually happening at. But at 16, I think he thought that he was probably going to go do a robbery, or he was going to be cool and he was going to be gangster or whatever. But ultimately, when he got home and he saw the news coverage that you guys put out, that I was there with you saying, we have two dead young men, I think the gravity of the situation really hit him. And I think him standing there watching this other guy, this Mosqueda, kill these two in cold blood probably had a pretty significant impact on him. And I think he was probably scared. So I'm hoping that in the coming days that he'll really consider it now that he's been charged with these crimes, and he'll tell us the whole story. We knew at the time that he wasn't telling us the whole story, and we need the rest of the story. We really want to make sure that Mosqueda never gets out, that he doesn't have the ability to do this to anybody else ever again. We know he was the shooter. You hear one gun firing. We've recovered that gun. We feel confident that that's the gun. Obviously, forensic testing will tell us for sure. But you know, we really want to make sure this case is a slam dunk. And he knows he's the only other person that was there that's still alive. And we need him to tell us the whole rest of the truth behind this.
How do, go ahead.
Is Mosqueda being charged as an adult?
He will be charged as an adult. The state attorney's office is going to handle that. Yes, yes. His charges will be upgraded, and they have to do that. The state has to do that.
How are the witness who is now charged and Mosqueda connected? Do they know each other?
They were friends. They were friends. They were just two guys who were friends. They don't live in the same area. I mean, they live nearby, but they were friends. And that's ultimately, you know, for them to stand there and for him to tell us, you know, he didn't know and those things, but he's literally planning it. He's part of the planning. You know, he knew that there was a gun. He knew that if things went bad, there was going to be gunshots. I don't think he knew that he was going to be a part of a double homicide.
So this suspect, again, just to be clear, is also from Fellsmere.
He's not from Phil. He's actually from the Vero Lake Estates area. Yep. Other questions, Corey?
Was the area where the assault took place, does it have any renewed interest? Does it still just a random spot? You think maybe the suspect chose it?
I think it was a middle spot for them to meet off of 95. It was just an area far enough away, just a dead street where they felt like they'd be comfortable. I don't know that our shooter, I don't know if he knew going into it that he was going to fire those rounds. I don't know that. Only he knows that. But I can tell you, when we went out there with our SWAT team at 1 o'clock in the morning, he was cold and callous. His entire family was shaking. They were nervous. We were pulling him out of the house. They were all nervous. But he wasn't. He wasn't nervous for a second. So we got to make sure he doesn't get out.
The weapon that you found, was like the capacity of 20 rounds, could it hold that many?
It was a high capacity magazine. Yes, sir.
Can you say what type of vehicle they traveled in to Vero Lake Estates?
They were in a SUV. I don't want to get into too many details, but they were in an SUV when they made that trip. And it was our suspect, Mosqueda's vehicle. Essentially, he had access to that vehicle that they were traveling in.
And the 16-year-old, was he involved in like I know there was a sale of the vapes. So was he supposed to get a part of the deal? Or
Yeah.
what was
So we're still going through their cell phones. We conducted a search warrant at our suspect's house, our witness's house as well over the weekend. That was on Saturday. We conducted a search warrant there as well. So our team will be analyzing their cell phones, their communications back and forth to make a determination on what exactly his role was in this. And so we're hoping that in the coming weeks we'll have even more answers about this. But we also want him to be truthful with us and tell us what happened.
Do you know how many times the two deceased were shot?
13 times between the two of them.
And Mosqueda, he's the only one that fired, right?
Based on what we have right now, we're still looking at that. We're going to process that weapon. We're going to continue to process the scene, but right now we believe that he is our shooter.
Were they local students, or did they
Anybody back there have that answer? Do you know if they went to school locally?
Yes, they did.
They did? Yes, local students.
Can you repeat the type of gun that was used?
It was a handgun. I'm not going to get into the caliber or anything like that. It was a handgun.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out.